My name is Amanda Wright, and I am the hostess and founder of Wright and Black. Society does that so that we envy each other, and so we create enemies, I'll say. So that's that. Therefore, a lot of Dominican people or a lot of, again, Afro-Latinos will not associate with people who are non-Latino people. I think they like the fact that they are mixed, and that since they're not fully Black, it gives them some type of pride, because here in the US, I feel like they know that people of color, especially when you have darker skin tone, are not, viewed the same as light-skinned Latinos, So that's exactly why they tend to separate themselves, because they don't want to be as oppressed as the dark-skinned person. Because here in the US, it's more about skin tone, sadly, than it is about race.
I think it's the separation that we put in our own community, and the separation that Latinos also put between their communities, because a lot of them don't want to identify as Black. So it's always like a battle, like that Latinos or even Afro-Latinos don't want to come to terms with the fact that they're Black, so it just creates this division, but we're all colored.
Because of the language barrier.
I think that has to do definitely with slavery and times of colonization and stuff like that, because a lot of Latino islands were colonized either by Spanish or European peoples. So I think they created this separation when it came to color, language. They wanted to make it seem like they were separate things to separate the status of people.
Even from past history, Latinos didn't want to be, the whole being in the house versus being in the fields. People felt like it was better to be in the house. Even you guys are still slaves, but being in the house was just looked more as in hierarchy rather than being out in the fields. And I feel like even today, being light-skinned, it's better rather than, accepting the fact that we're all Black. So a lot of people just don't like to accept that.
We were brought up to think that they were separate because that's how these countries were made and founded, based on separation and trying to divide people. So when you separate white from Black, the Latino is kind of in the middle, so they feel as if they have to choose between one or the other. And for a long time, that's how it wasn't even in America. You had to choose whether you identify as white or Black, instead of just being proud that you're mixed with all that and that you're Latino. So I think we were brought up to think that way, but I think a Latino should be accepting of everything that's within them and that they have inside, because we're made up of both, and we shouldn't be ashamed of that.
It has to do with colorism, because as a young age we always viewed as white is right and Black is wrong. So a lot of Latino people, they don't like to identify as Black because they don't want to be labeled as, oh, you're Black and this is bad, because in different countries, especially the country I'm from, DR, they view Black people as very ignorant. They think that they're stupid. They think that it's just wrong. That's why. So they like to be more different.
Being a Latina and being African American or Black is known as two separate things, because of the idea that Latinas have this Hispanic culture with them that they embrace, which is good, yes. But it's also the fact that they use it and in a way where they want to like shift away from being a Black person. They use that language, they use the culture as a way to shift away from being Black. Everything that a Latina cooks is similar to a Haitian dish or a Caribbean dish or a Black dish of any sort. And also it's just known as a different thing because they chose that path for them. They don't want to identify as Black people. Some of them they don't want to identify as that. So they use it to get out of the whole idea of being Black.
I feel like the lighter you are, the more privilege you get. White Latinos can benefit from white privilege. Latinos like me and the darker ones, we don't really benefit that much or at all.
This is where the argument that, like even Afro-Latinos are not considered Black, it kind of debunks that, because if you're not white or Asian, then you kind of got to pick one, and Latino is not a race. It's just, like if you're either one or you're the other, and you guys are a mixture of both. And if you're not, the only people that benefit from white privilege are white people.
If you pass as white, then you're gonna benefit from white privilege. So if you're a Latino who just happens to look white, then you're gonna benefit from it.
If you're a white passing Latino, I've seen it happen. Like, there are definitely instances where you are treated better because your hair is straighter, your skin is lighter. Even myself, I'm a light-skinned Latina, and you're favored in your community because you're seen as more desirable. Black is something that's ugly. It's like bad. It's a taboo. So definitely, all the time.
I think to an extent, not necessarily. I think like it's more in terms of like colorism rather than being of Latin descent. I feel like, there's like light skin privilege in a sense, but overall, like if you're not white, then you're colored. Like it's not, even back then, if you're not into this category, then you're colored. You're automatically looked different upon.
A Latino could definitely benefit from white privilege, especially if they choose to identify and steer away from their Latino or their Blackness. A Latino could roam around and be considered white probably for their entire life, as the case with some Latinos.
They will say like, oh, because you are in between, you could be in this category, you could be in that category. But also like people who are lighter than me, as in look white, they think that they are automatic white.
The only people that are in the white person's club is white people, whoever they select.
I had this boy in high school tell me I only date white or Spanish girls. And that doesn't really feel good, because I'm like, well, I'm not white or Spanish. I'm actually pretty dark. So what does that leave me?
Colorism has affected me in my life because it has stopped me from getting job opportunities. So I walked into a store to apply to a job, and I handed in my resume, and the owner told me that he was going to call me for an interview. And my best friend happened to work at that store, and she told me that he threw away my resume and didn't want to look at it because he saw that I was a dark-skinned girl, and he thought that I was going to be a ghetto ratchet girl and fighting with all of the customers. So he just decided not to continue with the process of interviewing me.
There is a fetish for light-skinned Black women, and it's like from like my own community, I see it. Like they're saying that, oh, we need more people to look like you. Like, and there's like a saying in like Spanish culture, like aclarando la raza, to make them whiter, to make them better.
Some people have like in a sense favored me a little bit, but not like to a large mass.
Growing up, I always had like this cousin who was darker, sort of like brown skin, and I felt like I would be treated differently than he would. Like his parents were always harder on him, because his parents are lighter skinned, and they were always harder on him. And I think he never really identified, and he never really felt accepted in his own home, and he kind of took more to the streets. So I think colorism has been like a big part of my life, and just being a Latino, being Dominican, like there's a lot of shades of us, so it's natural. People always are gonna judge you off what they first think of you. So to say colorism hasn't affected me would be ignorant.
When it comes to acting, people will look at me and look at the person next to me, and if she's darker than me, they'll choose me because sense of I'm what they want. I'm the black person that they want.
Deeply rooted in hate. For whatever reason, a lot of times Afro-Latinos don't want to admit that they're black just because of stereotypes and because of they think that black means ugly. Even though, hello bitch, do you see ugliness here? I didn't think so. But a lot of them are like, well, I'm not fucking black. I can't be black. And it's like, why not? Black comes in all different shades. So it's like that division that they kind of put on us, where it's like we're light skinned, so we can't be black, and we're better, or we're this, or culturally speaking. Like, I don't know, like I think, and a lot of it too, sometimes it's a culture thing, because I actually had my friend explain this to me. She was like, well, I can't exactly jack that I'm black even though my skin is black because of culture. So there's a side to it where it's not ignorant, but there's another side to it where it's just extremely ignorant, where it's just fear.
Maybe a lot of Afro-Latino people deny that they're black because they see the way that black people are getting treated, and they probably don't want to get treated like that as well. And because black people are denied a lot of opportunities, and they don't want to be those people to get denied the opportunities as well.
People deny being black because they were told all their life that it's wrong, and that there's so much negative connotation with being black, they kind of run away from themselves, and it's like this internalized hate that's created. I feel like that's the language that is exchanged between a lot of people, all the negatives. They're not taught the positives and the empowerment there is in being black. So I think it's easier to run away from it because you don't understand it than to accept it and grow from it.
It's a lot of pressure to be African American in this country. So if you see that, you might be afraid of that. You might be able to feel like you can't deal with it. But there are a lot of people who are struggling with that. So I think like what you're doing here is great, because people could come together behind this and show you that it's okay to accept who you are, no matter what.
A sense of hierarchy and just, I want to be white, I want to be up there with all the white people, and I don't want to be looked down upon. I feel like a lot of times in this day and this society, like, even just being a black person at like a job or anything, like you're just looked like with pity, like, if you're not white, then you're less than, and that's not really it.